All right, here's our math objective for today. I will be able to apply break apart strategy to solve multiplication problems with larger factors. So we've done break apart strategy a lot, and now we're actually going to be doing it with bigger numbers, and I think that you're going to catch on to this very quickly. So what I want you to do here is show two different ways you could break apart each number into two or more addends. So when we're talking about addends, it's not we're not finding factor pairs for these things. We're actually talking about a kind of writing in expanded form. So for instance, for 38, we can have that be an addend of 30 plus 8 would be one addend. Another addend would be to break apart the 30 as well. And I could do 20 plus 10 plus 8. So these are two different ways. And so I want you to do the same thing for the rest of these numbers. I want two different ways that when you add up the numbers, it would equal the 38, 63, 356, just like that. And this is actually going to help you in breaking apart larger numbers later on in as we're doing multiplication. So really take your time and really think about these. How can you break these guys apart so that way they're really easy to add together? That would be my suggestion for this slide. And please do this warm up before moving on. So pause, complete this, and come back in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Jonah's garden is a rectangle with 6 rows of plants. He wants to plant 2 sections, one with 10 rows of carrots and the other with 6 rows of beans. Partition the rectangle and label the sections carrots and beans to show how Jonah can plant his garden. So the way that you're going to partition is you're going to use your line, or you could actually use a rectangle if you want, but in order for me to know that you did the correct amount of space, you are going to need to click this button, transparent. So that way I know where what it looks like underneath and how many rows you did. And then drag and drop, for instance, if this is carrots, you're going to drag and drop carrots over here so I know that those are carrots. And then you'll drag and drop beans over here to let me know that the beans are over here. And how you do it, you could do it with lines as well. If you don't want to work with the rectangles, you could do it with lines and partition. You can make the lines a different color. You could also make them a different darker, so that way you could really see it. Any of these is up to you, just as long as it's clear where the carrots are, where the beans are, and how many rows are which one. So let me clear these out so that way you have a blank slate to work on. Okay. So Jonah can plant 9 seeds in each row. How many seeds can he plant all together? Show your work. So basically what you're doing here is, since there's 10 rows of carrots and 6 rows of beans, all together that's 16, right? That's 16 rows. And now we're talking 9 seeds in each row, okay? How many seeds can he plant altogether? So the multiplication that you're going to be doing is 16 times 9. And do the best you can, show your work. You could use lines. You could do different things like that in order to get the answer. And I want you to try before moving on. So go ahead and give these 2 slides a try and move on in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so since I know that 10 of the rows, I think, were beans and 6 were carrots, I'm not sure, I might be mixing those up. Those were already split up for me. And so if I'm doing and I have 9 in each, I could easily do 9 times 6 and then 9 times 10, right? So instead of doing 9 times 16, since I know my 9 times 10 and 9 times 6, I know that 9 times 6 is 54, 9 times 10 is 90. All I have to do is add those together, and I know 9 times 16 is then 144. So you could decompose or break apart a large factor into smaller parts to solve a multiplication problem more efficiently. Partitioning a rectangular area model is one way to represent the break apart strategy. And so we're going to be working with doing rectangles in order to kind of visually show those how you are breaking things apart. So that's just a heads up. Not all the problems would necessarily require you to draw a rectangle, but we're going to draw rectangles anyways, so that way we can make sense of our problem. All right, so how did breaking apart 16 into 10 and 6 help you solve problem 2 more efficiently? So you tell me. What helps you break apart a factor? You tell me. What do you think? What helps you break apart a factor? Okay, here's our next problem. Meg bought 7 boxes of crackers. Each box had 62 crackers. How many crackers did Meg buy? So we're multiplying 62 times 7. Wow, that's a big number, right? So what we're going to do is we need to know, how can I break apart 62 to make solving this problem easier? You tell me, how would you break apart 62? Oh, and do that before you move on. So pause, complete this, and then move on in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so here are 2 options, and this is why it was important for our very first warm-up for us to work on those add-ins, because here we have 60 plus 2 equals 62. Here we have 30 plus 30 plus 2 equals 62. Both of those are going to work. It doesn't matter how much you split up that large number, as long as you are splitting it into things that you can easily multiply, okay? So after finding the product for each rectangle, you need to add the products together to finish solving the problem. So I split up 62 into 60 and 2. So I need to do 60 times 7. 60 times 7 is 420. You should know that because we've been doing extended facts. 7 times 2, 14. In order to complete this problem, you have to do 420 plus 14. Same goes here. This one, 62, was split into 30, 30, and 2. 7 times 30. 7 times 3 is 21, so 7 times 30 is 210. 7 times 30 again is 210, and 7 times 2 is 14. So, like I said, you have to add these up in order to get your answer. So, you tell me, how many crackers did Meg buy? Add these up or add these up and tell me how many crackers did Meg buy. Now, would it be as efficient, which means easier and faster, to break 62 into 29 and 33? You tell me, would that be easier to multiply by 7? 7 times 29 and 7 times 33? You tell me. All right, so now we're going to do some practice. Use the break apart strategy to solve the multiplication problems. Think of easier multiplication problems that you can use to break apart the larger factor. Draw rectangles and write number sentences to show your thinking. So for this one, I'm going to do it so that way you guys have a model. So I can break, and what I want to break up is 24. And so I could break 24 into, I'm going to say 20 and 4. I think that would be the easiest way to do it. So now I'm going to draw a rectangle. I'm going to make it blue because I like the color blue. Okay. And so here on my shorter side, I'm going to write, I'm going to write 7. And I still need to split this up. So I'm going to split up the 20 and the 4. The 20 should have more than the 4 side. So I'm going to make this right here. This does not have to be accurate at all. That is not our priority. Our priority is making sense of these problems. So here I've got 7. Here I've got 4. And then I'm using the text box, so that way I'm creating more boxes that I could actually write in. And then this one would be 20. And now I could do my math. 7 times 4. What is 7 times 4? Well, I know for sure that 7 times 3 is 21, plus another 7 would be 28. So I'm going to do 7 times 4 equals 28. All right. And then I'm going to add another text box. And then 7 times 20. Well, I know that 7 times 2 equals 14. So 7 times 20 has to equal 140. So now what I need to do to solve this problem is do 140 plus 28. So 140 plus 28. 140 plus 20 would be 160. 160 plus 8 would be 168. Now, I'm also going to check my work just to make sure that I did this correctly. So I'm going to pull up my calculator. I'm going to do 7 times 24 equals 168. Awesome. So I know that I did it correctly. You do not necessarily have to check your work. It's just good to know if you did do it right. And if you didn't do it right, then you need to go back and see what you could do to make it better. Okay, so you are going to do the same thing for the next couple of slides. Use the break apart strategy to solve the multiplication problems. You have 4 times 36. I could break into And 8 times 57. I could break into Okay, so that's it for math. And since your English language arts is really short, I'm just going to keep going with the same video. We're going to just keep going. I will be able to create guiding questions. Okay, so tomorrow you will be creating your own Google Slides about you and what you have enjoyed about 3rd grade. Today, let's create guiding questions for your slides. So, for instance, one question that I always love asking you at the end of the school year is, what advice would you give next year's 3rd graders? And so that one is definitely going to be one of your slide questions tomorrow. But what other questions can we come up with that tells us about what you've learned in 3rd grade? What have you enjoyed? What was your favorite project to do? Did you like the animal research project? What did you learn from that? Did you enjoy speaking in front of the class? Did you enjoy more of this distant learning way of doing your lessons? And especially, what do 3rd graders, the new 3rd graders of the upcoming school year, need to know about me in order to be successful in my class? Those are all great questions, but we could also have silly questions because it's the end of the school year and this should be fun. So we could do, what's your favorite color? What's your favorite animal? How many times have you changed out of pajamas this week? I don't know. But this should be fun. It's going to be fun to have you guys do this tomorrow. And for some of the questions, you could also create your own pictures and things like that. So please take some time and create some guiding questions and have fun with it. And that is your only English language arts lesson for today. Otherwise, please check in with Miss Eigel's class and Mr. Losoya's if you haven't yet. And please do your silent reading for either a half hour to a half hour. And don't forget about Freckle and everything.